Hello and welcome back to X-Plane 11 with me, James. Today we are going to be flying from Edinburgh, Echo Golf Papa Hotel, down to Bristol International Airport, Echo Golf Golf Delta. I'm going to be doing it in this King Air C90, which is looking pretty good. I've already got the flight plan set up and inputted, and I'm actually going to show you the flight plan and how I've made it, and sort of run through very briefly how that all works. So if I grab my little window here and let you see it, like so. I use a website called onlineflightplanner.org. I've seen loads of people recommend loads of different websites, but this one for me seems the easiest to use, and yeah, I like it. It's the one that I prefer. Basically, you put in your route that you want. So I told it that I want to go from Echo Golf Papa Hotel to Bristol, and I gave it a flight level. You don't really have to stick to it. It's only if you want to plan for VNAV sort of things. In this aircraft, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to manually control my altitude. And it gives you a list of waypoints which you can go to. And down here, it gives you the airways. So if you're in a more sophisticated system than we've got in this C90, you can just program it using the airways. I've had to manually put in all of these, as, like I mentioned previously, we don't have a very sophisticated GPS system. The thing I like about it most, it shows you a route of where you're going. So as you see, we're going from Edinburgh. We're going to be flying down over the Lake District, which I have done in one of my previous videos. We're then going to be going over to Liverpool and then further straight down to Bristol. So it's a fairly straight route down the UK. I'm estimating it's going to take me about an hour and a half to 2 hours in total for the flight. This estimation here is a bit different because they don't actually have the King Air C90. So I've put in a King Air 350, so just ignore the time and the fuel usage. I don't think we're going to need anywhere near this much fuel. But yeah, so that's the actual overall flight plan. I've then gone to this NATS UK website for all the charts. So here is the departure chart for Edinburgh, or at least the ones that I'm going to be using. So for this flight, we are going to be leaving on the TLA 5G departure, and that's going to lead us down here at Tala, which is a 6,000 feet transition. One thing I will note is our first altitude we're going to is 4,000. So I've got to remember that because I'll key that into the autopilot in a second. We have then got the Bristol chart page, and we are going to be using this one here, the RETC approach, which is on the BRI 1A. So then we're going to be following this in, and then we're going to come in for a landing at Bristol. Now, I have planned for two different approaches, two different landings. So I'm going to, if the weather is good enough, I'm going to go for a visual landing. If not, we'll program up the ILS, and we'll just do an ILS landing on Bristol. I'm going to be landing on runway 9 at Bristol and taking off from runway 12, I believe it is, at Edinburgh. But like I mentioned, I've already got that programmed into the flight computer, so let's get rid of that. I need to go through the startup process for this. I don't know the official startup process. I've sort of made it up myself, I'll be honest. But anyway, here we go. We need to introduce our fuel to low idle. I'm just going to do both engines. I've already feathered the propellers. Right, let's get our fuel pump. That one's already on. That one's now on. We will arm the auto ignitions. And I believe that's all we need to do. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, beacon. Do we have a beacon? There it is. I'm going to start the left engine first. So these are turboprop engines, so you should hear them spin up. There we go, so engine 1 has leveled out at low idle, so we're going to turn the auto ignition off because we don't need that anymore. And then we are going to fire up the right engine, or engine number 2. Okay, we're looking good there. That's now spinning up. So again, we're going to turn off the auto ignition and then we are going to kick them into high idle. Okay, so for some reason, as soon as I put it into high idle, OBS crashed. So I'm going to have to redo a bit of this, but I've got my beacon on, got my taxi lights on. We are ready to taxi. The first altitude that I'm going to, if I remember correctly, was 4,000 feet. So I'm going to get this set to 4,000 as we very slowly scroll up through it, and then we are going to taxi to the runway and begin our takeoff. Let me get this up to 4,000 very quickly. There we go, all good to go. We've done our control checks, so that is all fine. If we double check the map, my plans for taxiing are to go up here, down this taxiway here, I'm not sure the name of it. We're then going to backtrack on the runway, spin around at the end, and then begin our takeoff on runway 12. So I am going to go down to the end, and I'll bring you guys back when we get there. Okay, here we are lined up on the runway, and the first thing I need to do is get the current altimeter setting, because that one is obviously very wrong. So we're going to open up our air traffic control.
43 X-ray Sierra Echo Golf Papa Hotel altimeter 3032.
Okay, let's read that back
Golf, Papa, Hotel,
and
altimeter
change this to 3032.
November 43 X-ray Sierra.
Like so. So that is got our altimeter all good and ready to go. We then need to get our lights sorted. So let's flick off our taxi. We'll get our landing lights on, and I'm actually going to switch on our nav lights as well. We get our strobe on for takeoff. I've already got the flaps in the approach position. Let me level out my trim like so. And I believe we are good to go. Our nav is set. Let me just try and get a bit more centralized in the seat, like so. I still haven't set up proper buttons for all that. I will do it at some point. Okie dokie, I think we are ready for our takeoff roll. I'm not going to be involved in the ATC in this flight. It's just purely going to be us flying alone. Let's get the brakes on. I'm going to increase the prop up. There it comes. So we can get our RPM going. And then I'm going to release the brakes and increase the throttle very slowly. Let the propeller speed up until it gets to the limiter. We've got a bit of a crosswind, so I'm going to have to counter for it as we travel down the runway. There we go, the propeller's coming up. We've got to put in a bit of left rudder for control. We're on the RPM limiter for the prop. We've got a big gust of wind there, Jesus. Okay, snaking across the runway. Let's get our takeoff power in. Airspeed's coming up. And rotate. And up we come. Let's get our gear up. Make sure we are flying in the right direction. So I want to be following the green line. So we need a slight bank to the right. There we go, and that pink dotted line is our course with wind correction in. Right, we've got a good climb, so we can lift the flaps and reduce the power a little bit, just from maximum. Like so. I'm going to get the autopilot engaged here. So let me just get into a stable position. I want it on nav, autopilot on, and we'll get the yaw damper on as well. Alright, so that's going to fly the navigation for us, like so, and then we want it on heading and vertical speed, and then we want that to come up just slightly, and that is going to take us up to our altitude of 4,000 feet, and then just hold us there. Right, we're looking good. Let's get our navigation window up onto the visual map. If I can find it. I still haven't worked out how to prop. Right, we're a little bit later on in the flight, thanks to OBS crashing for the second time today. I hope that doesn't become a recurring theme, because I lose probably about 5 to 10 minutes of video every time because I just don't spot that it's crashed in time. But as you can see, we are moving along a flight path. We have come off of the runway. We're now just approaching TLA, well actually D026M, but our main approach is towards TLA. We are coming en route. We're up to 4,000, which is the height that we have to be before, I believe, as soon as we hit this waypoint, we can then go up to 6,000. Or it might have been the previous one, I'm not sure. As soon as we hit this waypoint, I'm going to go up to 6,000 anyways. And then once we get past TLA, we can then go up to our cruise altitude of 20,000 feet we're going to go up to. I've literally just decided in my head that's what I'm going to go for. I think I might have said 22,000 previously. I'm not sure if that was in the bit that was cut out. But as per usual on my sort of videos, I'm going to be just doing a little bit of a montage, maybe even put a bit of music over it, just of the surrounding areas. Now, it is a bit gloomy, a bit cloudy. That's because I am using the match real-world conditions setting in the weather options. So this is pretty much, or what a representation of the weather is around Edinburgh. So we've got a bit of a wind coming on, so 25 knots up here at 4,000 feet. We have just gone through our waypoint there, so I'm going to chuck the altitude selection up to 6,000. And then we're going to climb up to that. And like I said, I will keep you guys in the loop with a little montage. And then I'm just going to fly until I get up to cruising altitude. And then I'm going to do a bit of a channel update, because one is in order, because things have been going on. I want to address the lack of videos on the channel and your guys' support and everything. It's been amazing. But like I said, we'll get into that when we get up to cruise. I will be right back. Okay, so I decided to level off at 12,000 feet instead of going all the way up to the 20, and that's purely because we have some fairly insane wind up here. So at the moment we have a 71 knot crosswind, which, I mean, I've never seen wind that high in this game before. And as we go higher, if we have a look at the flight configuration here, we can see, so 10,000 feet, we've got 71 knots. And then as we go up, it's 109 gusting 110. So I don't really want to fly any higher just yet. If the weather changes as we're flying along, because that was last updated 4 minutes ago, then yeah, I might go higher. I'm not quite sure just yet. But as I mentioned previously, I want to treat this as sort of a channel update video as well. It should also be in the title. And the reason I want to do that is to address the fact about me not having any content on the channel in the past sort of 3-4-ish weeks. And I haven't actually recorded anything in the last, 6 weeks or so. There's a couple of different reasons for that. One is sort of unplanned circumstances and things like that. And other is just the rest of my life, what else I've got going on. And unfortunately to say, some of it's going to get better with time, others not so much. So enough with all the fluffy stuff, let's get into it. So basically, a couple of things have been going wrong. So we've had a few sort of family issues, so we say, with illness and splitting up and things like that. So that's been taking a little bit of a toll. Not too badly. You know, we're working through it. It's not too bad. The main issues that have been stopping me from making content for the channel is work, and I volunteer for an organisation in which I teach powerboating. I think I mentioned that in my Lake District video, which incidentally we have just flown over. No, we're just about to fly over the Lake District. So hopefully I'll be able to get some nice beauty shots of that if there's some breaks in the cloud. And look at the angle that we're flying at against the wind here. So this little green line is the course that we're trying to go to, and then the pink dotted line is the line that we're on. So we're flying a good, what, 19 degrees off of our course, and actually the wind's dropping, which is good. But anyways, yeah, back to life channel things. Yeah, my work is quite busy, keeps me busy, and I volunteer for an organisation where I teach powerboating. They are just coming into the boating season, so I'm going to be getting even more busier with them and sort of helping them out wherever I can. That's going to take up most of my weekends, but hopefully in the evenings I should be good to record. I'm going to just push myself to do this and sort of unprioritize other things, because I feel like I really want to do this. For the last 6 weeks or so, without being able to record, I've been not great, let's put it that way. I've been really wanting to record and I just haven't felt right. I like to be in a proper recording mood, if you like, and I really just haven't been recently. So tonight I was just like, right, let's do it. We're just going to make a video, explain all this, so that hopefully, you know, all the new people that are subscribing, they've got something to see and realise, oh, this guy isn't actually just gone. I haven't fallen off of the face of the earth. I will be making more content shortly. It's just, please bear with me. And one thing to note about all the new subscribers, I do have my subscriber notification emails on. So every time I get a new subscriber, every single new one of you, I do read that email, I do see it. It puts a massive smile on my face once I see those emails. Honestly, thank you. We've surpassed 100 subscribers on the channel. I never thought I'd even hit 10. Like, the number, yeah, actually, when I saw that I had 100 subscribers, that really, really brightened my day, and it was fantastic. So I thank you very much. I have been doing a Minecraft series on my channel. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that because the save file has become corrupted. So I might bring it back, I might just ditch that one off and continue with X-Plane and potentially a few other series. Let me know if there's anything you want me to play, because I play anything, not just flight simulators, it can be anything else. I'm not really fussed. I will generally play any game, as long as it's on PC, because I have no way of recording PlayStation 4 or Xbox content. Oh wow, sorry, interrupt that. Look at the reflection. Oh, and the weather's just updated itself. I've got to get some screenshots of this. 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Right, so I got some screenshots because the reflection of the sun in the water down there, and obviously the actual sun itself, just looked amazing. Let's check our wind. How are we doing now? 43 knots, so that is starting to come down actually. I'm gonna try and push up to 16,000 feet and we'll see how that goes. We are currently 5.4 miles from DCS, which is just coming into the Lake District, so fingers crossed we can get a good little montage on that, like I mentioned. And then it's literally just going to be a montage all the way down our route here until I bring you back, probably for the landing, unless I remember that I've forgotten to say something, in which case I'll bring you guys back for that. Okay, so here we are. We're just about to begin our descent down into Retzi, which is the start of the standard approach or arrival chart. So I'm just bringing my altitude selector here down to 6,000, like so. And then we're going to go altitude arm, vertical speed, and then hold the down button for just a second. And wait for our vertical speed to respond. That was probably too quickly. Okay, that was in fact way too quickly. That's it. Recover yourself, please. Oops. A little bit overcooked on that. Let's pull that up just slightly. We probably got to about sort of 8 to 10,000 feet per minute there. My ears would definitely be popping by this point. Quite significantly. Let's try and get that under control. I didn't realise quite how quick that was going, and I need to reduce my airspeed as well. However, we managed to expedite our descent quite quickly there. We're still falling at 4,000 feet per minute. I'd like to bring that back down. And I noticed in a few of my other videos as well, I know I've mentioned it before, my brain automatically will say feet per second, so if I have said that at any point in this video, I do apologise. It is just the way my brain works. I do mean feet per minute. I know that is the units of that device there, of our altitude change indicator. So let's have a look at our map here. So yeah, we're just approaching Retzi. We'll be there in 20 seconds. We've got a ground speed of 196. The wind has dropped dramatically, but we've still got a crosswind. Looking at it, the wind for the runway that I've selected is going to be very unfavourable. So depending on how we go, I might swap runway and go for the other one. I don't know. It depends what sort of wind we get down at the lower altitudes. So we'll just have to play that by ear and see how we do. How's our airspeed doing? We're doing alright. I just want to keep that up a little bit, seeing as this has been quite a long flight already, and I'm quite keen to get us over and done with. We've got about 7 minutes until we hit Amral. Let's take a look outside and see if there's anything interesting. Mainly just clouds. It's all very, very grey here around Bristol. Fingers crossed that's just like a cloud layer. But to be honest, it looks fairly thick all the way through. So I'm going to continue my descent down to 6,000, and I think someone might mention it, I don't know, I should have had my barometer here, my, what's it called? Whatever this thing is, I should have had that set to 2992. I know I didn't do it, I'm sorry, I forgot. And now that we've passed through 10,000 feet, I'm going to get my landing lights on, and I'm probably going to stick my nav lights on as well. Probably don't need them, but just in case, I'm going to shove them on. I think we're pretty good. We're mostly set up, so we need to be... So technically we could still be at flight level 160 for this. I mean, we could have stayed up there, but we decided to start reducing our altitude down to the transition. Wasn't really bothering me because the wind speed down here will be much, much lower. I think, to be honest, we are pretty good. I'm just checking the approach. Everything seems fine. It looks like I am going to be able to do a visual landing here. I might set the ILS up just for sort of comfort though. I don't know, looking at the chart, we've got at 5 miles out, we should be at 2,200 feet. And that's at a 3-degree flight path at 320 feet per nautical mile drop. Because the altitude of this runway seems to be quite high. Oh, what was that beep? That means we are 1,000 feet from our target altitude. And yeah, so the haze has sort of cleared up a little bit. We can see a little bit more, start to see some shapes sort of in the land. This is glorious Wales, I think. It certainly is. This is the sort of bit of Wales I know, just around here. Other than that, yeah, I've got no idea. I've never been to anywhere else in Wales. But yeah, we're going to be coming down here, following this airway, and then that should dump us right over the Bristol Channel, the River Severn technically, and then we can go into Bristol. Okay, so I'm still on the descent here, and I've decided to change things up a bit, and I've actually planned an approach for the RNAV on 09, because if we take a look at the map here, we can check the weather down here at Echo Golf Delta, Bristol Airport, and we can see that the visibility is absolutely tiny. So it's gonna be a bit interesting. I've set the altimeter to 90902, and this airport is 622 feet above sea level, and we are currently 20 nautical miles away. I am actually going to activate the approach for this. So if we go over to proc and then go to activate approach, that is then going to take us over to the approach path, like so, and then that should bring us in on the RNAV for 09, which hopefully I'll be able to follow just right and I won't cause too many problems. So when we get to MPAS, which if we have a look on our flight plan, so we go to AVED first and then MPAS, we need to be at 2,500 feet. So I think just for comfort, I'm going to bring myself down to about 3,000 when I get to AVED, because between the two there's only 4.8 nautical miles. So let's get that ready in our altitude selection here. We're going to bring that all the way down to 3,000. As you can see, there's nothing out the windows at all. It's just clouds. Hopefully when we get a bit lower we can see a bit more. If we check the weather situation that we've got, it was last updated 69 minutes ago, so you can tell how long the flight's been. Let's refresh it and hope we get a good pick of the weather. There we go. So the winds look pretty much the same. We haven't got any cloud layers, but the visibility is 0.1. Interesting. We may not be able to land here. Now, I haven't planned for an alternative, because at the end of the day, I'm not actually flying this plane. Whoa, hello, that was the wrong button to hit. I cannot see anything. I might have to adjust the real-world situations, because, yeah, I'm not a real pilot, and I've got no idea what I'm doing. So we got 22 miles until we reach AVED. So let's get a bit more power on and we will approach there, and I'll bring you guys back once again. Okay, so we're about 1 mile out from MPAS now. We are down to 2,500 feet as per the chart. We're now turning left onto GD09F. And I have adjusted the visibility, because I'll be honest, with my skill level, there was no way I was bringing it down with a runway visual range of 300 feet. That was never going to happen, or meters. I'm not quite sure what it's measured in. It might be meters, actually. But in either case, there was no way I was going to make it, make a landing at that. So we now need, we got a 4.5 mile journey down to GD09F, and that needs to stay at 2,500 feet again, and then as soon as we get to GD09F we can begin our descent down. Just letting the autopilot correct itself here back onto a course. we go, and we are now 2 miles from GD09F. And then after that it's another 5.7 miles to the runway, and out in the distance I just can spot the blinky lights of the runway over there. So here is our approach. That is what we're aiming for. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out on the video, so apologies if you can't see that, but I can just see the runway lights down at the end. We have got a tailwind, so I really shouldn't be landing this direction, but it's only 8 knots. We should be okay. Right, 0.7 miles, 0.6. I'm going to disconnect the autopilot and hand fly from here. And we're going to take off the yaw damper as well. Get rid of the master warning. And we are going to go for a visual landing. Let's get our first notch of flap in. Let's get our gear down. And start reducing our airspeed. Now I haven't done too many approaches in this plane before. Only maybe 2 or 3. So I am still very much a newbie at it. Okay, so at 4 miles we want to be at 1950, so I'm a bit low and I'm way off to the right. At 3 miles we want 1650. So let's increase a bit of power. And we are bringing in the correction for the lateral movement, so 1650 at 3 miles. We're looking pretty good actually. 3.4. Okay, yeah, we're still too low, but we are correcting it. Looking good. Alright, 2 miles, we want 1310. And then at 1 mile we need 990. If we do miss the approach, we need to climb on runway heading to 3,000 feet and then make a right-hand turn. Alright, 2 miles, 1310, so we're still a little bit low. Let's get another degree of flap in here. Help me get a bit more control and give me a bit more time to play with. Okay, so that's our full flaps. We've got our gear down. We're good for the approach. 1.3 miles. We need to be at 990 at 1. Okay, still a bit low, still a bit off to the right. Need to get these corrections in. 500 above. Okay, we are way too low here. Alright, let's try and not overcorrect now. Bring her in for a nice, easy landing, hopefully. We've got a bit of wind down here. But I'm fairly happy with the approach. Bit of rudder to kick the tail in. And flare. Ooh, that was a very heavy landing. Apologies for that to my passengers on board. Alright, let's get the propellers into reverse. Like so. Oh, oops. Okay, I managed to stall the engines. That's probably not good for them. Right, rookie mistake there. Let's get the fuel cut off to them. And we're going to stop here on the runway. Like so. Yeah, master caution, I know. I'm sorry, I broke the engines. So what I thought I had bound to the reverse throttle apparently was the feathering of the props. Let's get all this turned off. Anything else I need to turn off? You. Get all our lights turned off. Beacon strobe. Get our flaps into the upright position. And we're just going to shut down here on the runway. Awesome. There we go. So that has been a flight from Edinburgh to Bristol. It's taken a bit longer than I thought it would. It is now midnight, so apologies for the rambly talkings, but hey, it's late. Hopefully I can get this video edited. I might do it tonight. I don't know. It depends. But happy Pi Day. Dating the video, dating the recording so that I can't leave it too long. I want to thank you very, very much for watching, and I meant what I said when I was on the cruise. I really do appreciate every single one of you, and every time I get that email with someone subscribing to me, it really does put a smile on my face. I hope to see you next time. If you want to see more of my X-Plane videos, there is a playlist link down in the description. Bye-bye.